This is today's cyber news for December 3rd, 2025. You can also subscribe to the newsletter and view the archive of previous headlines at DailyCyber.news. In South Korea, investigators uncovered a sprawling scheme that hijacked more than 120,000 internet-connected home cameras. Attackers quietly recorded families in their most private spaces. They then packaged footage from bedrooms, living rooms, and bathrooms into a disturbing stream of content sold through an adult website. Because the compromised devices and mobile apps appeared to work normally, most victims had no idea strangers were watching their daily routines. The campaign ran for years before authorities intervened, proving that weak camera security can quietly turn homes into targets for voyeurism. Elsewhere, security teams tracking software supply chains have tied 200 malicious JavaScript packages in a public registry to North Korean operators. Many of those packages posed as useful developer tools. Once pulled into projects through install commands, they tried to siphon credentials, download payloads, or open remote access to developer machines. Because the packages looked legitimate and used familiar names, tens of thousands of downloads likely reached build servers and production-bound code. The result is a quiet path for espionage and theft that starts with one package line and ends deep inside corporate clouds. Across North America and Europe, surveys show that most organizations have already woven artificial intelligence tools into everyday work, from marketing campaigns to software development. Governance has not kept pace at all. Few companies have rules on which data can go into these systems, how long it stays, or who may use each tool. Workers are signing up for external artificial intelligence services with unmanaged accounts, creating a tangle of logins and tokens nobody tracks. This combination of adoption and weak control means sensitive prompts and identity data can leak into third-party tools without anyone noticing. In South Korea, e-commerce giant Coupang has disclosed that attackers spent about 5 months inside systems holding customer information. Roughly 34 million shoppers were affected. The data includes names, contact details, addresses, and payment information fragments, though the company says passwords and full card numbers remained protected. Because the intrusion ran from late 2024 into 2025 before detection, regulators and customers are pressing for answers. The incident is now a major test of privacy enforcement and breach response for one of the country's most visible digital brands. An Android security bulletin from Google delivers patches for 2 vulnerabilities already used in attacks, plus more than 100 other flaws. Updates will not reach every device quickly. Because Android updates move through Google and device manufacturers, older phones and tablets may wait weeks or never see fixes. Many organizations still allow bring-your-own phones or unmanaged corporate handsets, so executives and frontline staff may keep using vulnerable builds. The practical risk is that attackers can quietly chain these mobile weaknesses with phishing and stolen credentials to reach sensitive business applications. The Everest ransomware group has posted claims that it breached hardware maker Asus and stole roughly 1 terabyte of internal data. Samples reportedly include source code for cameras and devices. If authentic, that code could help attackers find new ways to exploit products already installed in homes, offices, and public spaces. The attackers are using familiar double extortion tactics, threatening to leak or sell the trove if payment demands are not met. Customers and partners now face uncertainty about whether configuration data, business documents, or diagnostics from their deployments sit inside that stolen cache. A popular third-party YouTube client called SmartTube has been compromised after its signing keys leaked, allowing modified builds to look legitimate. Many users sideload the app onto smart televisions. Malicious versions can inject hidden tracking, ad fraud, or outright malware while still presenting the familiar viewing experience people expect. Because these devices often sit outside mobile device management and lack strong logging, unusual behavior may go unnoticed for long periods. Networks that quietly stream from compromised televisions and media boxes can leak viewing habits, account tokens, and even room audio to attackers. New case studies and honeypot operations show North Korea-linked operators posing as remote software developers to join Western technology teams. They rent or steal identities to clear onboarding checks. Once hired, these workers gain access to code repositories, cloud consoles, and internal tools, then exfiltrate source code and valuable data. Some operate through contracting platforms, so companies may never realize a sanctioned regime effectively holds a seat on their engineering team. Trusted access and quiet data copying make this tactic feel like an insider problem, even though it starts with an external hire. In Israel, security teams traced a new backdoor called Muddy Viper into utilities, municipal networks, and one Egyptian organization. Attackers aligned with Iran used phishing lures and exposed edge systems to pry open initial footholds in these environments. The backdoor grants deep remote control. Once installed, it lets operators move laterally, quietly harvest data, and potentially stage disruptive actions against critical operations and city services. Some victims only discovered the intrusion after strange network traffic and suspicious administrator activity surfaced in logs that had long gone unread. Meanwhile, researchers mapped a thriving crime-as-a-service market where attackers subscribed to ready-made tools instead of building their own. Offerings seen across Europe and North America include phishing kits, botnets, stolen credential collections, and remote control tools that mimic legitimate software-as-a-service products. The whole ecosystem looks disturbingly professional. Subscription models, customer support, and constant feature updates allow low-skill criminals to rent powerful capabilities once reserved for advanced groups. As a result, sophisticated phishing, account takeover, and fraud techniques can suddenly flood many sectors at once when a new service gains popularity. Today, enterprises are seeing more phishing campaigns that use adversary-in-the-middle toolkits, such as evil ginks, to bypass multi-factor authentication. Victims are lured to perfect copies of familiar single sign-on pages hosted on attacker-controlled infrastructure. Their logins still reach the real provider. While the user believes they have safely logged in, the toolkit quietly captures session cookies and replays them to seize full account access. From the cloud provider's point of view, everything looks normal as attackers quietly wander through dashboards, email, and business applications using stolen sessions. Across underground forums, investigators have spotted plugged-together phishing kits that combine modules from Salty 2FA and Tycoon 2FA to attack enterprise logins. Operators can swap templates, tweak flows, and handle many identity providers in one place instead of crafting bespoke pages for every target. It turns custom tricks into products. This industrial approach means improvements made by one criminal crew quickly spread across many others who rent or copy the same kit. Enterprises can suddenly face waves of very similar, highly convincing two-factor authentication phishing attempts aimed at different platforms, all powered by shared tooling. In Brazil, a new campaign is hijacking WhatsApp web sessions to push banking malware through trusted chat conversations. Attackers first compromise an account or device, then use live threads to send malicious files or links that look like normal messages. Friends and customers click without thinking. Once the payload runs on a victim's computer, it hooks into browsers and financial applications to skim credentials and manipulate wire transfers. Small businesses that rely heavily on chat for invoices and payments may see accounts drained or transactions forged before anyone notices the pattern. Across India, privacy advocates are sounding alarms about a website that claims it can reveal a person's location from only a mobile number. Early tests suggest that many lookups return disturbingly precise place information, although the operators refuse to explain where their data comes from. Even rough guesses put people at risk. Stalkers, harassers, and criminals do not need exact coordinates when a neighborhood or city block is enough to plan contact. Regulators now face pressure to investigate the service, trace its data sources, and shut down abusive tracking before someone gets hurt. Regulators in India have also ordered messaging platforms to ensure every account is tied to a currently active phone number. The policy aims to cut fraud and anonymous abuse by forcing apps closer to the strict identity checks already used for mobile subscriptions. It changes how onboarding must work. Global providers now have to reconcile app-level identities with telecom records, handle number recycling carefully, and manage deactivation windows under tighter scrutiny. Any mismatch between account status and phone status can open loopholes for fraudsters or expose companies to regulatory penalties if criminals exploit those gaps. New research on insider incidents shows that early warning signs often hide in small shifts in how people log in and access systems. Before a major theft, staff frequently start signing in at unusual hours, from new locations or to applications they rarely touched before. One odd Monday login may not matter. However, a sequence of late-night connections, broader access requests, and larger data downloads can gradually sketch the outline of an emerging insider risk. Organizations that correlate identity records, virtual private network logs, and data access histories are better placed to see that pattern early and intervene. Recently, many security teams relying on Microsoft Defender experienced a multi-hour portal outage that blocked access to live alerts and investigations. Endpoint agents kept running on laptops and servers, but analysts could not easily review incidents, pivot through evidence, or confirm containment steps. Some teams were effectively flying blind. Those with application programming interface-based workflows or local tools could still pull data and respond, while others had to pause, triage until the portal returned. The incident underscored that cloud security consoles are themselves critical infrastructure and that response plans must account for their downtime as carefully as data center failures. Finally, a global outage at ChatGPT left countless users unable to access their conversations or rely on the assistant for daily work. Writers, analysts, developers, and students suddenly had to pause tasks like drafting emails, summarizing documents, and exploring code solutions. Some work simply stalled for hours. In workplaces that had built informal processes around constant access, teams scrambled to resurrect old templates and manual workflows, or find substitute tools. The episode showed that generative artificial intelligence assistants now sit alongside email and cloud storage in the critical productivity stack, which means resilience and backup plans must cover them too. That's the Bare Metal Cyber Daily Brief for December 3rd, 2025. For more, visit baremetalcyber.com. You can also subscribe to the newsletter and view the archive of previous headlines at DailyCyber.news. We're back tomorrow. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.